Welcome to the NLP Revealed podcast, connecting your business brain with the real world. Brought to you by NLP Superfest and Fridge Magazine. And now we join your host, Aaron Mawson.
I'm here with Jamie Smart, and Jamie Smart is well known within NLP, but he's since moved on to creating Clarity, and last year released his first book under that same name. He works with individuals and organizations in Clarity for ultimate leverage points in creating more time, better decisions, and meaningful results. So welcome, Jamie.
Hey, it's great to speak with you again, Aaron.
Cool. So before we move on to describe what a Clarity is, maybe you can describe how you got to this point where you're teaching Clarity.
Yeah, sure. Well, as many of our friends and colleagues know, I spent many years running an NLP business called Salad, and I was really passionate about teaching NLP and what I was learning with NLP and sharing that stuff. And I got to the point where my business was going very well, and I was very pleased with the level of mastery that I had achieved. But despite having what we might call successful circumstances in my life and doing work that I really was passionate about and that sort of thing, I was feeling kind of unfulfilled and kind of off purpose, and like there was something missing from life, and I didn't really know what it was. And so I started exploring, and I hired a coach, and what I discovered was that a lot of what I'd accomplished had been based on a fundamental misunderstanding about how life worked. And it was the mistaken belief that happiness and security and well-being and peace of mind and all of that stuff was in some way dependent on external circumstances. And I bet people can relate to this. We've all got, I think, areas in our life where we kind of have a kind of I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when I achieve this goal, or get my business working to this level, or when I eliminate these problems, or whatever it might be. But the idea that our happiness, our security, our peace of mind, our well-being can come from anywhere other than the principle of thought taking form in the moment it's a misunderstanding. And it turned out, as I continued exploring, it turned out that this misunderstanding is at the heart of most of the problems and difficulties we experience as individuals and as businesses and as an entire society. So it was mid-2009, I suddenly saw that this new understanding I'd been exploring not only represented what I was going to be doing for the next 20 years, but as far as I could tell, represented the future of psychology. So I called up Nikki, my business partner. I said, "Hey, Nikki, we're changing direction." And I immediately did what I do, which is I throw myself all into whatever I'm up to, and started learning about the inside-out nature of life, as I refer to it. And back when I first started doing that, there wasn't that much awareness of this understanding within the personal development and the business world. But as you mentioned, last year I wrote a book called Clarity, Clear Mind, Better Performance, Bigger Results. And that became a #1 bestseller here in the UK in the business market, and then internationally on Amazon in a whole bunch of categories. And so 6 years down the line from first getting introduced to this understanding, there's now a lot of awareness of this, a lot of people becoming interested in it, because people are starting to realize that there's, the old metrics of money and power and external success, while they're still valuable and they still have their place, there's a piece missing from the puzzle. And I meet more and more people who are waking up to that and want to find that missing piece. In fact, a lot of my clients, people I do intensives with and that sort of thing, are entrepreneurs who have created very successful businesses, but are struggling to either to get their business to the next level or to experience the kind of sense of fulfillment and enjoyment in their business. You know, the thing that first sparked their passion and interest in it has been replaced by a whole bunch of work and information overwhelm and busyness. And so they're looking for that sense of connection and fulfillment and inspiration and purpose and enjoyment in their lives and in their businesses. So it turns out that what I went through is something that a lot of people are going through. And clarity points to how that works and how you can experience more of what you've been looking for and how you can find that missing piece.
And what is this? What is this thing that you call innate thinking?
Well, innate thinking is just a way of talking about our innate capacity for a whole bunch of stuff that we're born with. We're born with an innate capacity for creativity and innovation, for peace of mind and clarity, for resilience, for connection and love. We're born with an innate capacity for well-being and presence and I mentioned resilience, intuition and wisdom, that kind of inner guidance system that so many entrepreneurs rely on. So our ability to learn, our ability to grow and develop, our ability to have insight, all of these are innate capacities that every human being is born with. But here's the funny thing, Aaron. So many of those innate capacities are things that people are looking to develop or grow or add on to themselves. But it turns out they're already there. They're already there within every human being. And the only thing that blocks us from experiencing them to the degree we want it, when and where we want it, is a simple misunderstanding of how life works.
Right.
So I'll give you an example I guess a bunch of people can relate to. Daniel Sturridge, last year, he scored the first hat trick of his Premier League career against Fulham. And he came into his post-game interview clutching a copy of my book, Clarity. And when he was interviewed, he just said that he has so much more of a clear mind, so much more peace of mind now. Well, that stuff was already there. Sturridge was already an incredibly talented player. The only thing that was getting in his way was a misunderstanding about how life works. That misunderstanding was giving him X amount of pressure and stress and that sort of thing. And what he saw was that as you get a deeper understanding of the principles behind clarity, that excess thinking gets removed automatically. It's like a kind of automatic mindfulness almost.
Did this come easy for you? Was there was it a conditioning process, or was it just one moment you were sat in Starbucks and you just got this insight? What happened for you to get for when you got it?
Well, for me, it was slow. Here's the thing, Aaron. We're all born with a capacity for insight, a capacity for fresh new thinking. And, I guarantee that everyone who's started their own business has had insights. Everyone who's been working on a problem and they can't figure it out, and then they walk away from it and suddenly the answer comes to them. They've had insights. That's an insight. That thing that happens when you're having a conversation and you've got something on the tip of your tongue and you can't remember what it is. And then the person says, "Oh, stop thinking about it and it'll come back to you." Well, that's insight. It's fresh thought. And so we've all had them. My first insight into this understanding was I suddenly realized that it was like a voice in my head kind of went, "Oh, everything you've been looking for outside yourself, you're only going to find within yourself."
Right.
And I suddenly saw that really clearly. Now, there's having the insight, and having the insight that started to make a difference to my life. But that was kind of the beginning of a learning process. Then the next insight I had was the fact that people can see, like, this is interesting, Aaron, that we're all born with our senses, our eyes and our ears and our nose and our taste and our touch. But we're also born with the ability to use them. We don't have to learn how to see or learn how to hear or learn how to smell. We were born with the capacity to use those senses. Well, in the same way, we're born with the capacity for insight. We're born with the capacity for security and peace of mind and well-being. And so that's what I suddenly saw. The second insight was the fact that we can even see or hear means that we have the capacity for security and well-being within us. And then the third insight I had was the one I mentioned, where I suddenly realized that this represents the future of psychology and what I was going to be doing for the next 20 years. But here's the thing: I'm constantly having insights, and I learn incrementally through insight. I get a deeper understanding of the principles behind clarity. Like last weekend, I was teaching a group of trainers how to do this work with others, how to share the principles behind clarity, and I was having insights as I trained those people. I was getting a deeper understanding of how the principles behind clarity make a difference in our lives, how they show up in our lives, and how it works. I just saw it more clearly. Here's the funny thing: you see it more clearly for yourself, and then it starts to make a difference in your own life.
Mm. And something that I want to add to the next question. I mean, the next question I have is, what do people tend to experience after training in clarity? And what I want to add to that is you say that we have the capacity for creativity, we have the capacity for resilience. Is there a how aspect in clarity?
Well, here's the funny thing. That's a terrific question. And when I'm working with groups, the first of all, they identify the thing they want more of. They want more clarity, or more creativity, or more freedom, or more peace of mind, or more money, or whatever it might be. And then the next question is, okay, how do I get that? How do I experience more purpose in my life? How do I experience more freedom? How do I experience more of those innate capacities? More creativity that's going to allow me to make the money, and more innovation, whatever. And what I say to them surprises them, which is, that's the wrong question. The right question is, what's getting in the way of you experiencing that innate capacity? What's been standing in the way of you experiencing your innate capacity for those things until now? Because it turns out that what gets in the way is what I call superstitious thinking. Superstitious thinking contaminates our psychological capacity in the moment. So I've got a very, very simple model, which is clarity equals capacity minus contamination. Clarity equals capacity minus contamination. So everyone listening to this, you have, believe it or not, like, don't take my word for this, check it out for yourself. You have an extraordinary capacity for peace and joy and love, for security, for freedom, for well-being, for innovation and creativity and motivation and leadership and all that sort of stuff. You have an innate capacity for that that's beyond anything you can imagine. And then what gets in the way of that is superstitious thinking. And we've all had this. I mean, if we take a simple example that I bet everyone can relate to. If you've ever been on a date with someone or out with friends or something, and you're feeling super connected to them, just feeling very connected, very part of, and then you get thinking in your head and it pops you out of the moment. Maybe it's insecurity about what are they thinking of me, and the moment goes, that connection disappears. Well, the thing that got in the way was thinking. See, the central message of clarity is that when you've got nothing on your mind, you're free to give your best. And the issue most people have a lot of the time is they're preoccupied. They're overthinking it. And so then they ask me, well, how do I stop overthinking it? And I'm like, wrong question. The right question is, what has you overthinking it in the first place? And the thing that has them overthinking, the thing that's contaminating their capacity for clarity, is a fundamental misunderstanding about where our experience is coming from. And I call this the outside-in misunderstanding.
Right.
See, and it's very, very simple. It seems to us, it often seems to us, as though our feelings are telling us about a world out there in space or time. So our feelings are telling us about how much email we have to answer, or about that meeting with our boss later, or about what's going to happen if we don't hit our targets, or what's going to happen if we do hit our targets, or how great it's going to be if I go on holiday next year, or how happy I'm going to be if I achieve that goal. Or we believe that our feelings are telling us about our past, our terrible childhood, or our unhappy relationship that we got out of. Or we think that our feelings are telling us about other people and their behavior. But the reality is it doesn't work that way. Our feelings are always telling us about the principle of thought taking form in the moment. The principle of thought is what's creating our perceptual experience of life. And it's an amazing and a puzzling thing when you're first introduced to it, because it looks to us, Aaron, it looks as though, if you look around, it looks like you're looking out through your eyes at a world out there. That's how it looks to me, and I bet that's how it looks to you. But the reality is that's not how it works. If you speak to the neuroscientists, how it actually works is that data is pouring in through your senses, and then your brain goes, what must be out there for me to be receiving this data? And then it creates a virtual projection of a world, and that's the world we experience. Now, if your virtual projection is fairly well calibrated, then you don't go around walking into lampposts.
No.
But that virtual projection, that world that you can see around you as you look around, 100% of your experience of that is made of the principle of thought. So the principle of thought is a metaphor, if you like, for the pixels that our reality is made of. So we're not interacting directly with reality. We're interacting with a thought-generated perceptual reality. And so our feelings are there to give us direct feedback on the thought-generated perceptual reality that we're living in this moment. So we're always living in the feeling of the principle of thought taking form in this moment. But it often seems as though we're feeling something other than that. It seems as though we're feeling what's going to happen next week or what happened last week. So can I give you a metaphor for this?
Yeah, sure.
So I was at Alton Towers with my 11-year-old daughter, Tallulah. And we're getting ready to go on her first ever grown-up roller coaster. And so we're in the queue, and she's kind of freaked out, and she's thinking about bailing out, but she's been looking forward to this literally for years because she's only just tall enough to go on them now. So she's sort of oscillating between really excited and really terrified as we're standing in the queue. We're in the queue for about 15, 20 minutes. And then we get on the ride. We go on the ride, and she loves it. She just has the best time. We get off the ride at the end, and she goes, that was amazing. She goes, help me understand something. She goes, I was really frightened in the queue, but I loved the ride. What was going on there? I said, well, what do you think? She goes, well, I guess when I was in the queue, I was feeling my thinking, but I got tricked into believing I was feeling the ride.
Right.
I said, you got it, kid. I said, that's a profound insight. And I said, as you walk through life, you're going to see all kinds of people doing that. You're going to see them metaphorically being freaked out in the queue, believing they're feeling the ride, not realizing that they're feeling the principle of thought taking form.
Okay.
See, thought's a trickster. If you're standing in the queue and you're freaking out about the ride that you've never even been on, and you ask your thinking will say, oh yeah, that's a scary ride. That's why you're feeling freaked out. Or it'll say, yeah, what if the wheels come off? It's dangerous. Your thinking will point the finger at anything but itself. It'll never go, this is actually me doing it. And that's totally as it should be, because thought's kind of like a movie director. It's there to create an illusion for you, an illusion that you can fall into and get swept away with.
So it's not necessarily you got to think more positive or something like that. It's actually the understanding that you are, the feeling is coming from your thoughts, and you don't have to necessarily do anything with your thoughts, just that understanding.
Well, you got it. That's exactly it. Like, I don't encourage people to think positively. I think it's a bad idea. The better you understand where your experience is coming from, the more you get to benefit from your mind's self-correcting system, and the less you'll have on your mind. And when you've got less on your mind, you come up with better ideas, you become a better listener, you become more connected in relationships, you can turn in a better performance. I'll give you an example. I rocked up yesterday to a film shoot. Basically, we're filming videos for a website that's launching. So I was doing take after take, 80% of them in a single take, nailing them one after another. And the film crew said, "We've never seen anything like this before. How are you doing it? What are you doing that's allowing you to do this, deliver this kind of level of performance?" I said, "It's not about what I'm doing. It's about what I'm not doing. I got nothing on my mind. I'm not thinking about it." See, the things that my clients often report with surprise is that once they get a deeper understanding of this, they have more time. They have more time and they're more productive because they're not spending so much time grinding their gears, overthinking things, getting stuck in their thinking, and then having to motivate themselves to do things that they'd spent 10 minutes demotivating themselves from doing just before.
Yeah.
So people have, they report on having an extra hour or two each day just by getting a more profound understanding of how their minds work.
Well, one of the things that you're talking about at this Superfest is this notion of effortless influence.
Yeah.
And when you look around the areas of influence at the moment, you tend to find what I'll call tactics, like certain language patterns that they might advise you to use, or Cialdini's principles. Is effortless influence different?
Yeah, very much so. Well, so I bet everyone on this call has had the experience of feeling when someone's trying to influence you. They're trying to get you to do something, and they want you to do it. And it's like you can feel them kind of leaning on you to get you to do it. Well, as human beings, as soon as we feel that someone else wants us to do something, we naturally don't want to do it. It's called an opposition response. Years of evolution have taught us that if someone else really, really wants us to do something, it may not be to our best interest. It may be more about them than it is about us.
Yeah.
But by the same token, we've all had the experience of being deeply connected with another person and just knowing at an almost felt level that they have our best interests at heart. I remember, funnily enough, someone talking about Milton Erickson once. And what they said, they'd spent time with Erickson. And they said, Erickson was good with language, but you could kind of hear it coming. And he had amazing sensory acuity. He said, but the thing about Erickson that was amazing was it was like he would get in rapport with you at the level of identity. It was like he almost communicated to you non-verbally, I know who you are. I can see you. And I think who you are is just terrific. And I don't need anything from who you are. And I don't need you to change who you are. I'm absolutely fine with who you are. Now, would you like to come with me? And the person said that in the face of that kind of identity level rapport, you'd basically do whatever he wanted you to do. Like, there was just no question about it. I heard that story and I was like, I want to get into rapport with people at that kind of level, at that kind of depth. I want to get in rapport with them at the level of their soul. But what I realized is that if I wanted to get into rapport with people at that kind of level and have that kind of degree of influence over them, then I had to completely release my own agendas for the interaction. I had to come from an orientation of service, of genuinely wanting to serve the other person in whatever way makes sense to them. And so I've spent years discovering, how do you clear out the obstacles to a genuine service orientation? How do you develop that kind of deep felt sense of connection? And then how do you persuade and influence with zero pressure? Like, I'll say to people, if I'm in a sales conversation with them, I'll often say to them, look, I don't want you to experience even a gram of pressure. So if you're experiencing any pressure at all from me, will you tell me? Because I want to clean that right up. I want our connection to be utterly pristine. Because at the end of the day, Aaron, I'm in the relationship business. I'm I'm building lifelong relationships with people where I'm serving the hell out of them. And I want to be at a level beyond trusted advisor. And so if I'm going to be at a level beyond trusted advisor, I can't bamboozle them into buying something from me first, because that'll totally screw the relationship up. So I'm doing very high value sales with people, and the context for those high value sales is a relationship where there's a deep sense of trust, and honesty and authenticity and integrity. So to me, the background for effortless influence, the background for the kind of influence that just has people coming with you, is all about authenticity, integrity, trust, openness, transparency, that kind of stuff. But this is the kind of stuff that the internet and social media is calling to people for. It's what companies' clients are calling to them for. People want authenticity. People want integrity. People want transparency. So it's about, okay, well, it's not about integrity, authenticity, transparency. How do we fake that to our clients so we can get them to do what we want? It's about walking your talk. Effortless influence is about being the real deal.
Well, Fridge Magazine has a number of readers who are within the service-based industry and are managers as well. And something that you touched on there about being 100% service, providing service. In order to get that attitude shift, did you have to really separate yourself from the outcome in regards to the fee? Like, you say that you don't want them to have any pressure, but in order for a sale to take place, there has to be a product that you think at least would be nice to sell. Did you have to separate yourself from the outcome of them buying into what you're selling?
Well, it would probably look like that from the outside, but how I see it is a little different. My first step with a client, certainly if I'm doing a face-to-face influence piece, is is to find out what they need, is to really get on the same page with them. So I don't have a pre-prepared product in mind. I mean, I've got various things I offer, but step one is to find out, what is it that they're wanting in life? What is it that they're needing? What's the problem they want to solve, or the goal they want to achieve, or the change they want to make? And so I'll sometimes even ask them, I'll say, what do you perceive as the number one problem you could solve, or change you could make, or goal you could achieve, that you believe would have the biggest positive impact in your life, or in your work, or in your business? And so they'll reflect on that question, and then we'll start to talk about that. I mean, step one for me, Aaron, is to get really, really clear on what they're up against and what they're motivated to create and what really matters for them. And then I try and get a sense of, is there a way that I can serve them in that? And sometimes I'll say, okay, I need to go away and think about it. And then if I come up with a proposal, well, then it's about, okay, let's talk through what I've come up with and see if it'll fit. Now, I don't think of it as separating it from outcome. I know that in the moment, talking to a potential client, either I'm going to be present and aware and connected to them and listening and genuinely coming from a desire to serve them, or I'm going to be caught up in my own insecurities. And I sometimes get caught up in my own insecurities, but the feeling that comes with insecurity is a really clear signal that my head's gone in the wrong direction. And so I wake up from that and I come back into the present moment and get reconnected with the client. So it's not that I don't care about making money or having a successful business and that sort of thing. I really like it. I like having a successful business. I like having nice things and being able to travel and do stuff. And it's funny, I was talking to my eldest daughter about business. And we were talking about business and money and that sort of thing. And I said to her, well, what's important in life, Matilda? And she said, well, lots of things are important. She said, family, friends, learning, love. And she made this list. And then I said, well, what about oxygen? She goes, oh, yeah, that's really important too. I said, well, that's the same with business. In life, oxygen's important, but it's not the be all and end all. It's the be all and end all if you haven't got any. But the rest of the time, it's just what you need to keep to go and focus on what's really important in life. Well, it's the same with money in business. It's not the be all and end all unless you haven't got any, unless you're struggling. And then it seems really important because businesses can't run without money, as far as I know. But that's not what really matters in business. It's a basic. It's what you need there to play the game. But what really matters is serving others and making a difference to people and creating things that you believe in and that you're proud of and being part of it with a group of people and building a team and creating legacy and all that it's all that other stuff that's important. That's really important. The money's just what you need to keep for a business to keep going. I don't know many businesses that keep going long without money. So that's how I see it. But I still sometimes get insecure about money. I'm a person. I have sometimes get into ropey thinking about it. But fortunately, the feelings of it and neediness that come along with it wake me up to the kind of tea I'm drinking in that moment. And so that's a signal that I'm not seeing it right.
Okay, and so as we go towards the end of the interview, this of course is for Fridge Magazine, and a fridge is a place where we tend to keep the main ingredients for an amazing meal, and based on your experience, if you could have something in your business fridge in order to be an amazing business person, what would that be?
Oh, here's the funny thing, Aaron. When I work with businesses and business owners, I work with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. They come in with the list of the things that they think they want and the things they need to solve, and they have their ideas about what would be the amazing thing if only they had it in their business fridge. What I give them is just one thing. I give them a more profound understanding of the principles behind clarity, and I clear up the misunderstanding that's been getting in their way until now. And all of a sudden, what they discover is when they open their fridge, it's got everything they need in it. So the only thing that anyone needs to kind of put in their fridge is a better understanding of the principles behind clarity. Because as you clear up the misunderstandings, you're going to find that your fridge is already filled with everything you could possibly need.
That's great, and a good note to end on. Well, thanks for your time in relation to this interview, Jamie. And and I imagine that they're going to get a lot from your two talks at the Superfest.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's 7 years since I've been to Australia, so I'm looking forward to going back.
Wow, are you having a holiday over there as well? Or just...
Yeah, I'm taking about 10 days off. My girlfriend's coming with me, so we're gonna take about 10 days and do some exploring before the conference.
Oh, brilliant! That's great. Okay, well, thanks for your time, Jamie, and good luck in Australia.
Thanks very much. Great to speak with you, Aaron.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, brought to you by NLP Superfest and Fridge Magazine. You can find more information about NLP Superfest over at nlpsuperfest.com. And if you're in Australia between the 3rd and 5th of October 2014, why not head over to Melbourne and come and join the Superfest? However, if you can't make it, don't despair. Head over to NLP Superfest online and find out how you can get involved. You can also find out more information about Aaron Morton at fridgemagazine.com or on his own personal website at theconfidencelounge.com. See you at NLP Superfest, and we look forward to talking more NLP soon.